Okay, this is the fourth day. We've been talking about lesson 1.4. There's a lot of stuff in here, and this is actually, again, going to be a brand new topic. So this is something that you guys have never seen before, and it's called the difference quotient. In the past, they always will put a difference quotient question on the challenge exam. So it's important that we practice these, and then we'll go back and practice them again at the end of the year, closer to the test. Also, it's an important concept in calculus. So it's one of the first things we do. We use the difference quotient to find something called the derivative. That is a major topic in calculus. So anyway, and a generic example of a difference quotient is a big kind of long fraction. The numerator is f of x plus h minus f of x over h. So it's called a difference quotient because there's a difference. There will always be a subtraction of two things, and then it will always be divided by something. So there is a difference and there is a quotient. Right, now I recommend when I teach this to my students that you guys use a highlighter. So if you want to grab a highlighter, two highlighters, you need two different colors. You can pause the video if you need to. Alright, so for example 1, we're going to find the difference quotient. Alright, so what you'll be given is a function. So our function is f of x equals x squared minus 2x plus 9. And then you'll be given a specific difference quotient to find. So the difference quotient we're finding for this problem is f of 4 plus h minus f of 4 over h. Alright, so I am going to highlight, I'll just use this color. You can use whatever one of your colors you have. I'm going to highlight this in purple, and I'm going to find it in purple. So f of 4 plus h. I'm going to come over and I'm going to have like a work area. And I'm just going to find this and then I'm going to sub it in. So f of 4 plus h, we kind of have practiced that this week. We're going to take 4 plus h, and everywhere where there's an x, I'm going to replace that x with 4 plus h. Alright, so instead of x squared, I'm going to have 4 plus h squared. Alright, and then instead of times negative 2 times x, it's going to be negative 2 times 4 plus h. And then I still have the plus 9. Alright, so from here, I'm going to find what that equals, or simplify it down. So I'm going to square 4 plus h, so you guys can either multiply 4 plus h times itself, or you can do the little shortcut I like to do, where you square 4, multiply these together and multiply by 2, and then square h. It's so much faster to do it that way. Alright, then I'm going to distribute the negative 2, and then bring down the plus 9. Alright, and then finally, I'm just going to combine my like terms. So I'll start with the h squared. There's only one h squared. Alright, and then we have 8h minus 2h is 6h. And then we have 16 minus 8 is 8, plus 9 is 17. I don't know why I underlined that. It doesn't need to be underlined, but it's fine. Okay, so that whole thing. So I'm going to go ahead and come up here and fill it in for that space. So I'm just going to use that difference quotient that I started off with, and in the place of f of 4 plus h, I'm going to write what I got when I found it. Alright, now the other thing I have to find is f of 4. Alright, so I just have to look at what the problem is telling me to do. So we've been able to find f of 4 for a long time, like since Algebra 1. You just take that 4 and you're going to plug it in for all the x's. So we get 16 minus 8 plus 9. That kind of sounds familiar. Anyway, we're going to get 17. So I'll come back up in my fraction, and where I have f of 4, I'm going to replace that with 17. So it was minus, so it's minus 17. All right, and then we still have that divided by h on the bottom. Okay, so from here, we're just reducing this fraction. So I know that 17 minus 17 is 0. It cancels out. So we have h squared plus 6h over h. And then because all of these have an h, I can reduce all of them by h. So when you reduce h squared by h or divide h squared by h, it leaves you with h. 6h divided by h just leaves you with 6. And h in the bottom just completely cancels out. And this is the value of the difference quotient, h plus 6. Alright, so it's quite a bit of work, lots and lots and lots of little steps, all things you've done before, you've just never done all of these together at the same time. Alright, I'm going to do another one for b. So this time, our function is 2x squared minus 3x. And our difference quotient is f of x plus h minus f of x over h. Alright, to be consistent, I'm going to be a weirdo. I'm going to rewrite this in a different color, so just bear with me. So I didn't change anything, I just changed the color. Okay, so let's start with f of x plus h. Alright, so I'm going to use my little workspace. I'm going to find f of x plus h. So that means in the place of x, I'm going to change it to x plus h. That's what I'm going to sub in there. So it's going to be 2. And then in the place of x, I'm going to put x plus h squared minus 3. And then in the place of x, I'm going to write x plus h. Okay. And then I'm going to follow the order of operations. I cannot distribute inside parentheses that have a power. We have to do the powers, the exponents, before we do multiplication. So I need to square x plus h. So I'm going to square x. I'm going to multiply those together and multiply by 2. And then I'm going to square h. Alright, over here I'm ready to go ahead and distribute the negative 3. Right, and then I'm going to come back and distribute the 2. So look at that for a second. Check to see if there are any like terms that we can combine. Alright, so there are no like terms. So this whole thing right here is f of x plus h. So in the place of, I'm coming back to my fraction, and in the place of f of x plus h, I'm going to write what I got when I found it. Alright, so now I'm going to work with the second part. The second part tells us that from that, we're going to subtract f of x. So f of x is just this original problem. So all I have to do now is subtract f of x. So I'm going to subtract 2x squared minus 3x. And then all that is over h. Alright, so if I take 2x squared and subtract 2x squared from it, those two are going to cancel out. And then negative 3x minus negative 3x also cancels out. So what we're left with is 4xh minus h squared minus 3h over h. Now at this point, this is how these problems all work out. So pretty much everything that doesn't have an h subtracts away. And then you're ready to reduce everything by h, because all three of these terms have an h. So I can reduce them all. So I'm canceling an h out of each term, and that leaves us with 4x minus h minus 3. That is the value of the difference quotient. All right, so your assignment on the worksheet that I'm giving you, or have already given you, is called I can't remember exactly, the different quotients and review worksheet or something. Today, I just want you guys to do 1 through 4 on it. So it's the front side, so 4 difference quotients to practice.